Y'all, the energy is non-existent, baby. I'm giving it all I got. Fighting for my life. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get into my August monthly reading wrap-up. Happy sunrise, family. Welcome back to my channel, More Affirmative. I apologize in advance, y'all. I'm not as hype and out there and all the things today. I've been fighting for my life for like the past 2 to 3 weeks, okay? All these planets is in the microwave. My cycle, just started. And then on top of that, I am kind of in the middle of a ADHD burnout as well. And sometimes the burnouts can mimic depression a little bit too. It's just a whole thing, y'all. So I have legitimately been fighting for my life. I took a little break from all of my platforms, really. I haven't really been posting like that on Facebook. I haven't posted on TikTok. And then, as you can see with YouTube, I think I only posted 2 videos last week, but those were actually pre-recorded. So I haven't made any new content like at all in the past like 2 to 3 weeks. I've been fighting for my life, y'all. I've literally been drowning in all of the fields, okay? So I apologize, if I look a little ill or whatever, but just vibe with me, okay? Just vibe with me. We here to talk about these books. I'm gonna do my best, y'all. I'm gonna give it all I got. If you haven't seen the 2 most recent reading vlogs that I did, I actually had a pink eye bacterial infection or virus or whatever. Apparently it's 2 different types of pink eye that I was unaware of. There's a bacterial one and then there's a virus one. And apparently the viral one, you have to wait it out. Like there's really no medicine for that. You just have to vibe that shit out and hope that you just don't die. So yeah, like I had got over that and then everything else just started crashing down and I just... Y'all, it's been a time. Life has just been a fucking doozy. Oh, and I started homeschool 2 weeks ago as well. So all of this is kind of happening at one time. And I'm just like, I'm done. Energetically just pooped. But with it saying all of that, somehow I still managed to read 14 books this month. Shocker. I actually read 11 books on Kindle. I read 4 physical copies. And then I also listened to an Audible. I actually listened to 2, but I still have about 2 hours left on the other Audible. I haven't finished it yet. So I probably won't really talk about it in this vlog because I haven't finished it yet. Okay, I got my handy dandy Goodreads app open because like I said, I did read a lot of this on my Kindle. So I don't really remember the names of the books right now. But we are going to, what should I start with? Should I do my physical copies first? Or my Kindle? I don't know. I'm going to start with everything that I read on my Kindle. Handy dandy Kindle. Okay, so the first book that I read, it was actually a novella. And it's 2 different novellas by K.L. Hall. I'll make sure I post the covers right here. I just happened to run into this book. I can't remember if I saw it on TikTok or if I saw it on Goodreads. But either way it goes, I just wanted something quick and easy to read because like I said, I've just been in a funk. So I just wanted something quick and easy to read. And I found both of these books. You have one called Bi Curious. And then the second one is called Bi Curious 2, Tastes Like Candy. Okay, so as you can see with the titles, clearly this is like a little spicy novella or whatever the case may be. So if you're into spice, if you're into quick, smutty reads, this might be for you. Now, I'll say with Bi Curious, I rated it a 2-star. Okay, it wasn't for me. And I was a little bit disappointed because I am a bisexual woman for one. So whenever I go into these books that's kind of sapphic or whatever the case may be, like I want to be able to resonate with it, or I want to be able to like see myself in some of the characters or whatever. I want to be able to love the storyline. It just wasn't for me. A lot of people did like this book, but it wasn't for me. The reason why it wasn't for me is because it was giving, y'all know that little Rick Ross line in that song that I think he got sued for or whatever, put Molly all in her champagne, she didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? I took it home and enjoyed that, she didn't even know it. Yeah, that's what that was giving. And Now, y'all know I love me some dark romances, and this is not a dark romance book, but y'all, if you read dark romance, you know, like the type of shit that's in dark romance, right? I eat that shit up, but I eat it up because it's consensual. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's consent. This wasn't necessarily consent. It wasn't necessarily grapey. However, just the way that the sexual encounter took place gave me the ick. It gave me the ick. I wasn't with it. I just didn't like it. I actually did love the characters. Every character, it's 3 main characters clearly, because I think it's FMF. So it's 3 main characters in the book, and I actually enjoyed each one of the characters or whatever, but like just the way that it wasn't giving. Essentially, y'all don't make me lie, I don't remember the name of the people in this book, but either way it goes, you have this one girl that's like this church girl, I guess. She came from a very religious background, lived with her granny and all type of stuff like that or whatever. She's off to college. She ends up rooming with this other girl, and this other girl is, you know, she's a little bit more free-spirited, very in tune with her sexual nature, very confident, all of the things. So of course, you already kind of know where this story is going. The roommate is the one that has the boyfriend. So they basically introduce her to this lifestyle, but it's just the way that it was introduced that I wasn't a fan of that. Okay, so yeah, 2-star. And then, like I said, I read the second one, which was Bi Curious 2. It follows the same exact couple, the roommate and the boyfriend, and then also the girl that joined into the little polyamorous situation or whatever. This one was a little bit better. It was kind of up my alley just because of the nature of the book. Y'all, I be reading some stuff, okay? The nature of the book and some of the stuff that they were doing. I like this one better than I like the first one, but the first one still left like a bad taste in my mouth. It still gave me an ick. So I still ended up rating the second one a 3-star because I just couldn't get past how the relationship actually started. Like, it was giving grooming, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It didn't seem like she ended up there organically. So I couldn't really resonate with the 3 people's connection like that for real, because how she ended up there I don't know, y'all. So if you want to get into it and see what the fuck I'm talking about, by all means do that. A lot of people did actually enjoy it because, again, it's just a quick, spicy novella, you know? So a lot of people did enjoy it, and a lot of people, I guess, do like that trope. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. The next novella that I read was called Hockey House V Cards. And this was, I got this on, I think, the most recent Kindle, whatchamacallit? The Stuff Your Kindle Day. I found this with the most recent Stuff Your Kindle Day. I think this was like last month sometime, where they had a Stuff Your Kindle for romance and fantasy and something else or whatever. So I found this one. I did not know it was a novella at the time when I got it, but I found out once I started reading that it was just a novella. I gave this 3 stars. It was a decent time. Basically, it follows a group of guys, and they are hockey players, clearly. And y'all, I love me a little hockey. I don't know what it is about hockey. Now, I love a hockey romance type of situation. I don't care if it's contemporary. I don't care if it's dark romance. It's something about them hockey boys that eat down, y'all. Them hockey boys and them storylines eat the fuck down. So that's initially why I grabbed this book, okay? I didn't know what it was about. It just looked interesting because I saw the puck and the damn hockey stick or whatever on the cover. I think it's 4 guys in the book, either 4 or 5 guys, and each guy has a POV in this book. And basically the storyline is following them throughout their first time doing the hunky-dory, you know, doing the nasty, doing the bumping uglies, scooting and booting, knocking boots. Y'all follow me, okay? So they're basically telling their stories of the days that they lost their virginity. They're going back down memory lane, and they're each telling their V card story, right? It kind of gives you a background on why they are the way that they are today in today's time. Now, apparently, each one of these guys do have their own book outside of this novella. I guess this novella was just like the prequel to the rest of their storylines or whatever. I honestly don't know if I'm going to follow the rest of the story, to be completely honest. I did have a good time with this novella. It was some of it, I don't know. It was a good palate cleanser. It was a good palate cleanser, but I don't think this is something that I'm probably going to double back to. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Okay, the next 6 novellas that I read, I only read because the covers ate down. I think I mentioned this series in one of my previous vlogs. What was it? The Get to Know Me Booktube Newbie Tag or whatever. I mentioned this because this was one of the books that this was one of the series that I was reading during the time frame where I was recording that video. So I think I didn't mention it because that was one of the questions. There's 6 books here, and the first one the series itself is called Erotic Love Language. The first one is called Talk to Me Nicely. The second one is called Turn Me Out. The third one is called Lucky. The fourth one is called Thoughty or Nice. The fifth one is called Yours to Have. And the sixth one is called All for You. This series is basically love language adjacent in a sense, because it is spicy, but these women are essentially finding men that feed into their particular love languages. So I thought this was a good read. I did not know, when I tell y'all I went into a lot of books this month blind as a bat. I didn't know that this was like a spicy thing, because I didn't see that the title was called Erotic Love Language. You know what I mean? I just started reading them because the covers ate down. Like, y'all see these covers. They are beautiful ass covers. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to read them because those covers are cute, you know? And then as I got into the very first book, I was like, oh, spicy, child. It's spicy. When I saw that it was love language adjacent, it actually reminded me of another novella series that I read last year that had to do with love languages. Let me see if I can find it, because I read it last year. It was called Erotic child. Y'all don't make me lie. Either way it goes, it didn't follow the love languages. It followed the 5 senses. So each book you had one that was called touch, one that was called sight, one that was called sound, one that was called taste, and there was another one, I believe. I could be wrong. No, there was another one. It's 5 senses, right? Touch, taste, sound, sight. Damn, y'all. I'm not slow, I promise. Touch, taste, sound, scent. Damn, we can't forget scent. Yeah, it was called Scent. But this particular series is about a married couple that kind of hit a roadblock in their marriage. There's no like tropes, like no cheating tropes or anything like that. It's just, marriage has its bumpy roads, and they kind of lost their spark. And they were thinking about divorce. This is all in the blurb, so I'm not ruining it for anybody that wants to go check it out. But they were the wife was basically thinking about divorce, and the husband found out about it and was trying to do everything possible to change her mind. He kind of realized, dang, I've been so focused on work that I kind of forgot, to show up for my wife in these different ways. So this is just basically them rekindling their union in a sense. And he goes about it using the 5 senses. I actually thought that this series was cute as hell, okay? Now, I wasn't a huge fan of the taste one because, baby, there's just some things that shouldn't be around your lady parts, okay? UTIs and yeast infections exist. It made me squeeze my thighs together. No, ma'am. But outside of that, I enjoyed this. So when I saw this series, I was like, okay, this might be giving what this was giving. So I went into this one. Now, although this one is about different individuals, it's not about, a particular couple. It's following five different women and men in this book. It was still cute. Yeah, I actually enjoyed all of these novellas. They were really, really quick reads. I love the storyline. I love the characters. I actually never read anything by this particular author. This was my first time reading her work. And I will say I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. It was nice little palate cleansers. It was definitely, I ate them up. I ate every single one of them up. The next book that I read on Kindle is by the same author. It's called Spin Bout You. Okay. This was another short story. I don't know if she only writes novellas or if she writes lengthy books too, but the ones that I kept finding were novellas, and I really didn't know they were novellas until I started reading it. But whatever, a book is a book is a book is a book. It counts. I actually rated this one 3 stars. This one wasn't my favorite. It was a cute little storyline, but I don't know. It was a cute little storyline and it was a nice palate cleanser or whatever. But it wasn't my favorite. I didn't really eat it up like how I ate up the erotic series. This one did have a little bit of spice in there, and it did have it was a love interest type of situation. A girl finding a guy, they clicked over, I think, what was it? I think this was a group of friends showing up. They had like a friend weekend in a cabin or something like that. And this girl ended up meeting this guy they never met before, and they kind of kicked it off that weekend, went their separate ways, and ended up bumping into each other again somewhere down the line or whatever. So it was a cute little story. It just wasn't my favorite. Okay, and then the last novella is something I actually just finished 2 days ago. Y'all, I don't know how all of these novellas ended up being spicy as hell. What does that say about me? I promise you, I read more than spice. If you've been subscribed to my channel and you've been watching my wrap-ups or my reading vlogs or whatever, you already know this. But to all the newbies, I promise y'all, this is not all I read, okay? I read things with substance too. But either way it goes, I did read this one. It was called Leak It. This is also an erotic novella by A. Blossom. I've never read anything by A. Blossom before, so this was a first too. I guess you could say this month I was just trying new authors, to be completely honest. Everything I read this month, except for one book. Yeah, everything I read this month, except for one book, was by a new author. Like, I was just trying out new shit, So I did read this one, and this was like a why choose type of situation. And this particular book followed, y'all, I really don't be remembering. Whenever I read novellas, I don't really be remembering the names. I'm really just here for a good time, not a long time. So don't charge it to my heart. I don't remember the characters' names, and I'm probably not going to think about these novellas ever again in life. But it was a good time while I was in it. So it follows some girl, this lady. She just got out of a divorce with her shitty ass husband. The husband, ended up cheating on her with his best friend that he claimed was just a friend. Y'all know that storyline. Y'all know how that goes. So she ends up going on this cruise that she had booked for her and her ex-husband for their anniversary, however long they were together. They were together for a long time. And she ends up bumping into her husband and her husband's mistress on this cruise ship. And it was just quite embarrassing. And this other man ends up overhearing the conversation. He kind of swoops in and saves her and pretends to be her man type situation, right? So after the husband ends up walking away, she thanks this man. She goes to walk away from him, and she bumps into a carbon copy of this same man. In other words, this man has a twin, okay? And the story just goes from there. From her and these two twin men. It just goes from there. This was a very interesting storyline. Both of these twins, you have a lover boy that's one of the twins, and then you got that gangster, which is the other twin. So it was a nice, happy balance. but I've never actually read, I'm into why choose. I'm into reverse harem and things of that nature. Like, I love those tropes. I love those type of tropes in books. But this is the first time I read one that was brothers. Now, granted, I don't know if y'all have ever had threesomes before, or if y'all ever, ventured out into those type of environments. But just so y'all know, it wasn't no incest going on. I just put it that way. It wasn't no incest going on. It's just two brothers interested in the same woman, and they both pursue this same woman, and they just decide to be in a polyamorous type of situation. So yeah, if you're interested in those type of tropes, or if you're just kind of interested to see how that even works out, I would definitely suggest reading this book. I gave it 4 stars. I had a good time. I had a good time with it, okay? And I think on Goodreads, I said I can't even give y'all a synopsis because at this point, all that matters are these twins. I loved me some Houston and some Harlem, okay? Houston and Harlem were big steppers. Love them down. Okay, like I said, I read 4 physical copies this month. The first one I read was 5 Brothers by Penelope Douglas. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna need to pull up my Goodreads for this because I actually said a lot. This was one of the first books that I read this month. Actually, I think this was either the third. This had got to be the third book I read this month. I don't remember, y'all. I lied. It was not the third one, but either way it goes, I've read a lot by Penelope Douglas. She actually was one of the authors. I've been reading for a long time, but I stopped reading for a while. Because I just didn't have the time, being a new mom, being a stay-at-home mom, working all the time when I was working and things of that nature. I just didn't have the time. And now because I have, I'm always at home with these damn churn. Sometimes I be needing an escape. So I got back into reading again. And Penelope Douglas was one of the authors that I started with when I got back into reading. So some of the first books that I read, I think I read Pump 57 first. That was actually, that's still one of my favorite books because it resonated with me during a time frame where I was kind of in that headspace. So a lot of what was going on in that book, it just hit home for me. So I really did like that book. And then I also read Birthday Girl and Baby Papa Pike. Hey, that Birthday Girl, that was a very good book too. I love that book, okay? So as you can see, I do have a lot of Penelope Douglas on my shelf. I haven't read this series yet. What series is this? The Devil's Night series. I haven't read this series yet, but I do have a lot of her books on my shelf. Now, I did read Tri-Six Venom. If you've been following my stuff and you've watched my previous vlogs, you know I read this during Sapphic month. And it wasn't my favorite. I did enjoy it. I had a good time with it. It just wasn't my favorite, okay? Now, what I did not know was Tri-Six Venom is adjacent to 5 Brothers. And what I mean by that is Tri-Six Venom follows Olivia Yeager and 5 Brothers follows Olivia's 5 older brothers, okay? So I didn't know that upon getting this book, but once I read the blurb and I started seeing the different names of the brothers, and I was like, why these names sound so familiar? And then when I saw Yeager, I was like, wait a minute, Yeager sounds, hold on. I remember, and I went back and picked this book up and Olivia Yeager is in this book. So I didn't know that this was like a spinoff type of situation. So if you've read Tri-Six Venom, you could get into this. Now, I have a lot to say about 5 Brothers. I'm not going to spoil it for those that still want to read this book, but I do have some things. I have some pros and cons. Essentially, I have some pros and cons about this book. I actually buddy read this book with a group of people. We essentially went into this book thinking it was going to be a why choose type of situation because the title, hello, 5 Brothers. So first thing first, yeah, it's not that. It's not that. If you think this is a why choose or you thought this was a why choose, I'm just here to tell you, baby, think again. It's not why choose. It's not giving why choose. Nothing about this storyline is why choose. Okay, so just go ahead and knock that on out your brain, baby. Now, my pros with this book, y'all. I love the storyline. The storyline, I ate it up, okay? I ate it up, I ate it up, I ate it up. I absolutely enjoy getting more insight on each one of the brothers, okay? You got Macon, you got Army, you got Dallas, you got Trace, and you have, who was the other one? Who was the other one? Macon or Iron. So it's Macon, Army, Iron, Dallas, and Trace. I don't know what kind of names them is, baby, but hey, whatever. Either way it goes, we get more insight on the brothers. The brothers do show up in Tri-Six Venom, throughout Tri-Six Venom, because a lot of what takes place is like this battle between their side of the town and then the rich folks side of the town. So they get mentioned quite a bit in Tri-Six. Okay, so in this book we get more background on the brothers, POVs and personalities and things of that nature. And I actually enjoyed the brothers in Tri-Six Venom. So once I found out that this followed them, I was excited about it. Now, the storyline in this book did pull at my heartstrings as well, because it does center around different things like depression. It centers around, what they call older sibling syndrome, where you have to basically take on all of the things, being that you're the older child, especially if your parents aren't around, or if your parents aren't being parents, or whatever the situation is. The older child always has a lot of burdens, right, to take on, and this kind of hit home for me in different ways. So I don't know, the storyline alone, it resonated. So I did enjoy the storyline. And then the last thing is, I did like the fact that the main female character in this book ended up with the brother that I wanted her to end up with. So that was a plus. Now, the cons when it comes to this book, y'all, I don't like the fact that Penelope advertised this as a standalone. I do not advise anybody to read Five Brothers if you have not read Tri-Six Venom. And the reason why I say that is because it's very confusing, okay? I don't know if y'all remember me reading Tri-Six Venom, and I told y'all I didn't really know how I felt about it yet, because when I was going into the book, I was very confused by what was going on. I was very confused, okay? Like, Penelope Douglas is a good writer, but I'm starting to kind of see that it was too much confusion, okay? Just reading Tri-Six Venom alone. So going into this book, the only reason I was able to follow the storyline is because I read Tri-Six Venom. She doesn't do a very good job at filling in holes to say this was supposed to be a standalone. So if you've read anything by like Chantel Tessier, right, with the Lore series, you know that all of her books connect in some way, shape, or form, okay? So if you read the first book, which is The Ritual, and that follows Riot, you read the second book, which is The Sinner, and that follows, what is his name? Sin, okay? So when you read Sin, it's showing the POV from Sin's, it shows Sin's POV, but it also fills in the holes. There's identical scenes in each one of these books, but from a different perspective. So as you're reading it, you're still understanding what's going on in real time, just from a different perspective. So it all aligns and it all makes sense. You see what I mean? Not in here. This is not what was happening in Five Brothers. It's like you read this book and you have no fucking clue what's happening. You have no clue who these people are. You have no clue what the fuck is going on. It's just you're kind of thrown into it, and you're just like, you're reading it, trying to figure it out, and there's no answers coming, because some of the answers that you're looking for is in the previous book, but you wouldn't know that if you didn't read it. So I don't suggest reading this without reading Tri-Six Venom, because you will be confused. And the people that I was buddy reading with, they were thoroughly confused. Like, they were asking me, like, who is this? What is this? What's happening here? And I would have to explain it to them, because she did not do a good job filling in the blanks and filling in the holes for you to follow the storyline in a way that you would be able to understand and enjoy what's going on. You know what I mean? There's a storyline in here following the main female character, right, in terms of her parents. And it's showing the turbulence between her and her parents' relationship. I didn't like the fact that we didn't get more of that. There's There were so many holes in this book, y'all. It don't make no damn sense. That's just the best way to describe it. I feel like there should have been more with that storyline when it came to her parents, because it was such a traumatic experience. It was such a major part of the storyline, but we only got breadcrumbs. We only got breadcrumbs. Now, there is a big what the fuck moment, I think, in like chapter 27. And it's like, okay, cool. But I still feel like there should have been more as far as that particular storyline, that part of the storyline is concerned, because it made too much. It was such a major thing in the book, the relationship between her and her parents. It was such a major thing. So to not have more information on the parents or on her relationship with the parent, it didn't make sense. I feel like she dropped the ball in that aspect. And then my last thing about this book is the age gap trope. Now, let me say this. I am not against age gap, because when it's done right, that shit eats, okay? Like Birthday Girl, ate it down. Like there's certain books to where if there's an age gap and it's played correctly or it's written correctly, it's very, very enjoyable. I'm starting to notice a trend with Penelope Douglas, because a lot of her books have major age gaps in it. And I don't knock that, because if that's her niche, if that's what she's good at, then stick with that, okay? Because that's your bread and butter. However, what I will say is when it's not done correctly, it's a little cringy, okay? Birthday Girl was done correctly. I won't say Five Brothers wasn't done correctly, but there were some scenes and some things that were said that just made it cringy. Like, you know how these authors go sometimes when it's age gap. It's like they like to remind you there's an age gap, or they like to say little things like, oh, you got stuffed animals in your room, or you got, like, don't make it weird. You know what I mean? Like, they're of age. They're both consenting adults. So it's not like, pedophilia type of situations. But at the same time, don't make it weird either, because now when you make it weird, then it becomes weird. You know what I mean? So like, there were just certain parts in this book as far as age gap that just made me kind of, ugh, this is just cringy. Okay. But like I said, I did enjoy the book, and I probably enjoyed it a lot more than some of the people that I buddy read with, simply because I kind of already understood the storyline. The way that this book ended, it does indicate that there's going to be a third book in the making. So if you do enjoy Penelope Douglas and you're interested in reading this, I would highly suggest reading Tri-Six Venom first, then reading this one before the third one comes out. Because I guarantee you, if this one was as confusing as it was, you're going to be confused with the third one too, especially if she tries to introduce it as a standalone, okay? So I'm just giving you the heads up. I'm just giving you the warning. I'm just letting you know what's tea. Do I suggest reading it? Would I recommend it? Yes. But definitely read Tri-Six Venom first if you want to get the full picture of what's going on in this one. The next book that I want to talk about is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Y'all, this is hands down my favorite book of 2024. Period. This might be one of my favorite books of all time. I will never stop thinking about this book. I will never get over this book. I will never not recommend this book. Any chance that I get, I am going to recommend Dark Matter. Any chance I get, I will try to slip Dark Matter into any conversation because it was really that good, okay? I was gifted this book last year sometime, actually. Or was it earlier this year? It was earlier this year. Was it? Oh, child. I don't recall. Let me see. Does it have a date? I like to keep my little gift receipts things from Amazon in here. February. Yeah. February 6th is when this was ordered and sent to me. So I got this in February and I just got around to reading it. Y'all, this was so good. This book was so good. Oh, this book was so good. And from my understanding, I think that there's a show, because when I was talking about this book on TikTok, a lot of people were talking about wanting to watch the show. I believe the show is available on Apple TV. I don't have Apple TV, unfortunately, but a lot of people are raving about the show as well. And people are saying the show is even better than the book. So I'm like, whoa. I'm gonna have to find a way to finesse that and get up in this so I can see it. But either way it goes, Blake Crouch says that this is a sci-fi suspense love story, and it's not wrong. This book has every single one of those genres wrapped up in one. It was so good. I read this book in a day and a half. Okay? I probably would have read it in a day. Stay at home mom, you know? But I read this book in a day and a half, and I literally have not stopped thinking about this book since, okay? This book follows... Who the fuck this book follow, y'all? This book follows Jason and Jason's wife and son, okay? I'm gonna just read y'all the synopsis of this book because I don't want to give the storyline away. So I'm gonna read y'all the synopsis, okay? Are you happy with your life? Those are the last words that Jason Desson hears before the kidnapper knocks him unconscious. Before he awakens to find himself strapped to a gurney, surrounded by strangers in hazmat suits. Before a man he's never met smiles down at him and says, "Welcome back, my friend." In this world he's woken up to, Jason's life is not the one he knows. His wife is not his wife. His son was never born. And Jason is not an ordinary college professor, but a celebrity genius who has achieved something remarkable, something impossible. Is this life or the other that's the dream? And even if the home he remembers is real, how will Jason make it back to the family he loves? Y'all, this book made me question every choice I've ever made in life, even down to reading this damn book. Every choice, y'all, I can't even explain. Every choice that you make literally changes the trajectory of your life, period. Just one choice can set you on a different course entirely. And it's like, we know that, but reading this is like, it really gives you that, oh damn type of thing, right? Y'all. So like, if you're somebody like me, because y'all know I'm a deep bitch, okay? And I'm way on the spiritual side of things too. So I'm somebody that believes in stuff like the Mandela effect. I'm somebody that believes in stuff about like multiple timelines and hopping timelines, because, you know, that's my experience, things that I personally experienced. So of course, you know, I'm speaking on my reality. So if those are things that you are interested in or that you also believe, get into this. Even if you don't believe in those things, it's still a good book to get into, just because of the way that it makes you think. Like, it's so thought-provoking. This book is so thought-provoking. There was not one time to where I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I put this book down questioning everything. Like I said, it literally made me question every single choice and decision that I've ever made, while simultaneously making me be completely grateful for where I am right now in this moment in time. It makes you be great. It makes you kind of live in the moment and be more grateful, instead of wondering about the what ifs. What if this would have happened? What if that would have happened? What if I would have made a different choice? Yeah, you could make those different choices, but understand, just because you make those different choices doesn't necessarily mean that the life that you would have over there would be better than the life that you're living right now. And that's the thing I think that we forget as humans. Like, we always wish we had more. We always wish we were in a different spot, or we always wish we would have did something differently. And you just don't know how that would have panned out. You could have did something differently, and maybe it would have been a better life than you have now. But you also could have did something differently, and maybe it would have been the worst life that you've ever experienced outside of the one that you're currently living in. You just don't know. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it, is you really don't know. You don't know what would happen with just one choice that you make. So it makes you be more grateful for where you are right now. You understand? Yeah. I read it. Read it, y'all. Read it. Read it. The next physical copy that I read, and this is very controversial, as y'all know, I did do a reading vlog on this too. I keep checking my email because I'm hoping that Chantel is sending me this fucking arc. Okay, anyway, I did a reading vlog on this book too. So I'm talking about It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I've never read anything by Colleen before. I was actually I can't remember. I don't remember if I bought this or if I was gifted this book, to be completely honest, because this has been on my shelf for a year, a little over a year and some change. This book, the second book, and also Verity. Verity was actually gifted to me, 2 years ago. I got it for Christmas and I still haven't read it yet. I read it, y'all, and what pushed me to read it is all the controversy surrounding this particular author, and also surrounding the movie that just came out for this author. So I actually have a lot to say about this book, y'all, but I don't want to say too much simply because I did a reading vlog on it. So I'm only going to tell you what I rated the book and why I rated it that way. And then if you want like all of my thought and think pieces surrounding this particular author, as well as the book itself, the vlog will definitely be out, I think, next week. I'll have it out next week for y'all to get into because I have a lot to say. But I'm going to read to y'all. I'm going to tell y'all what I said on Goodreads about this book. I'm not going to read everything because, again, my cons and pros will be in the reading vlog that I was just talking about. But I will tell y'all my thoughts. So I actually gave this book 5 stars, y'all. Don't write me off. Don't come in these comments talking shit. Keep it very cutesy. Keep it very demure. Okay? But I gave it 5 stars. I said, I know. I gave it 5 stars, but let me explain. Let me cook. Okay? Long review coming up. There were so many pros, but also there were so many pros, but I also have so many cons. I truthfully sat with all of these thoughts and I've contemplated them endlessly. I really went back and forth on so many different things pertaining to this book. And because of that alone, this book deserves a 5-star rating, simply for racking my brain to this capacity. Okay. So I gave this 5 stars, y'all. I gave this 5 stars. I have so many different things, surrounding this, but I did also I do think that this book is worth the read, but in the same breath, I don't think that it's something that I would personally go out of my way to recommend. That is just my truth. Okay. Like I said, I gave it 5 stars. I understand why people love this book, and I do understand why people hate this book. So if you want to hear all my think pieces, all my thoughts, all my pros, all my cons, definitely be on the lookout for the reading vlog that'll be out next month surrounding this book. Now, of course, since I read the first book, I had to read the second one, which is It Starts With Us by the same author, Colleen Hoover. I actually rated this one 4 stars. It would have been a 5-star, but I'll just be completely honest. I hate Rao. Okay, and if you don't know who Rao is one of the main characters in this storyline. I hate him. I hate him. And because he still popped up in this book, I just couldn't give it a 5-star just simply from my own emotions towards this particular character. I despise the despicable person that is Rao. However, the way that Rao was represented throughout this book was needed. I will say that I love the fact that she kept Rao in the storyline, because that is the reality of these types of situations, okay? It's not a one and done type of thing for a lot of women. Sometimes these individuals just don't fucking go away, okay? Sometimes they still pop up. Sometimes they still have a hold on you in some type of way. This is not a fucking fairy tale. At the end of the day, it's not a fairy tale, okay? So I understood, and I also appreciated the fact that she kept him in the storyline for that reason and that reason alone. But because I hated him so much, I just couldn't morally give this book a 5-star read. This book was actually a lot less traumatizing than the first one. It too was a great read. Instead of this one following Lily and Rao, this one mostly follows Lily and Atlas, right? And like I said, Rao still pops up in and out of the book because that's just what it is. I actually want to give y'all a review on this, but I fear if I do that, it'll ruin my review for it ends with us. So I'm going to save this for the reading vlog as well. I'm sorry. I love you though. Last but not least, y'all, I know. I feel like this vlog is so long. Hopefully it won't be as long once I edit it out. But last but not least, y'all know spooky season is coming up, and I am a fall girly through and through, okay? My birthday is in November. Fall time makes me fucking come alive, okay? So fall is slowly creeping upon us, and I cannot wait for spooky season, okay? That is my favorite time of year, just in general, but also when it comes to book reading. So because it's coming up, I decided to go ahead and get a head start on spooky season, and I found this Audible. I've actually had this Audible for a while. I'm not going to lie to you. I had it stashed away for a hot minute, okay? And I just never read it because I wanted to save it for spooky season. And being that we're coming up on it, I decided to give it a go. This is called Witches Get Stuff Done by Molly Harper. There's 2 books out right now. I'm not sure if there's going to be a third because I don't know how the second book ends just yet. I'm still currently listening to that. I still have about 2 hours left on that one. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be any more outside of just those 2. Now, this first one, I usually, whenever I read Audibles, and if it's like an Audible original, whenever I do Audibles, I usually rate it. It usually gets like a 3-star or less for me because I know with Audibles is never really going to stick. Okay. Anytime an Audible sticks for me is if I'm reading it, along with the physical copy that I have, or if I'm listening to an Audible for a book that I've already read, and I actually love the storyline. So I kind of want to reread it, but I don't feel like reading it, myself. So I listen to it. Now, those I usually rate a little bit higher, but anytime I'm just listening just to listen. I know it's not going to stick. I know I'm not going to remember these characters. I know I probably won't even remember the storyline. So usually a 3-star rating for an Audible for me is essential to like a 4 or 5-star rating whenever I'm reading a physical copy. That might be weird, but that's just how I go about it, okay? I've never actually read an Audible I've never actually listened to an Audible that was like more than, that was like 5 stars, unless it's something that I've already previously read. But that's just how I be rating shit. But either way it goes, I actually rated this 4 stars. I enjoyed this book. It was funny. It had its funny moments. Let me tell y'all what this book is about, okay? I'm not going to spoil it for those that kind of want to get a little spooky, you want something, quick and entertaining for spooky season. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But this book follows Riley and it follows some man, Edison. Okay, so it's basically a cozy mystery romance, okay? Riley is our female lead, and she is moving out to this island. The island is Starfall Point. I don't know where Starfall Point is, but that's what they call it. They're moving out to this island, and it's not like think island like, not like Vacation Island, not like Hawaii or something like that. It's kind of like, I don't know how to fucking explain it, but it's not like a vacation island, okay? Either way it goes, well, people do vacation on there in the book. Whatever, just forget everything I just fucking said. It follows Riley, and she's headed to the island to meet her aunt for the first time. But she finds out that her aunt has passed away when she gets there. Now, Riley doesn't know most of her family. She only knew her mom, her dad, and that's basically it. She didn't know anybody on her mom's side of the family like that, okay? And then her dad's side of the family is estranged because it's a whole thing. You would have to listen to it to see. So she really only knows her mom and her dad. Her aunt reached out to her, wanted to meet up with her and things of that nature. By the time she makes it to the island, her aunt has passed away. Now, upon her aunt passing away, she learns that her aunt has left her everything. She left her this huge ass mansion, a shit ton of money, and a job, okay? Now, upon this job, she later finds, this is all in the blurb, y'all, like I'm not telling y'all nothing crazy. She finds out that the job pertains to her being not only a medium, and if you don't know what a medium is somebody that can interact with the dead, okay? So basically channeling and things of that nature. But she finds out she's a medium as well as a witch, okay? And one of her jobs is to help wandering souls either cross over and keep, her job is to help wandering souls cross over to the light, while also keeping her family's bloodline safe from their enemies. And they got some enemies, baby. Okay. Of course, she has a love interest, which is Edison. And yeah, that's basically it. So the storyline is basically her finding out that she's a witch, trying to hone into her powers, and trying to keep her family safe, trying to keep her family's secret safe, fighting off enemies and all of these different things or whatever. I felt like this was just so cute. I actually laughed a lot listening to this Audible, which I love. I love reading books or listening to books that makes me LOL, you know, like makes me literally laugh out loud. I like watching shows and movies that makes me literally laugh out loud. This was one of those books where I was literally chuckling while certain things was happening. It was funny. There are some like spicy scenes, but it doesn't go into detail. I would say like the spice is maybe like a 1 to 2 chili peppers. So don't go into this thinking like you about to get some spice of your life. You're not. But I do like how, you know, it's not needed for this type of book. It wasn't needed. Like what was written was enough. And I actually really, really enjoyed the storyline. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed some of the ghost characters. It was really, really given that mystery, cozy type situation. And I love those vibes. I love it. And that's probably why I rated it a 4 too, because I just love those type of vibes in general. So I ate it up. So if you are looking for like a cute little cozy mystery romance type of thing and you're an Audible girly, go ahead and listen to this one. Like I said, I am currently listening to the second one. The second one is a spin-off of the first one. Riley and Edison is still in the second book, but the second book is following another character that's in the first book. I thought it was a good time. I am going to be doing a spooky season vlog for y'all. Like I'll give y'all some spooky season recommendations because I did read a shit ton of stuff last year during spooky season. And then I'm also going to let y'all know what my TBR is for spooky season because I have so much that I actually want to read. Am I going to read it all? Who knows? But spooky season lasts for 3 months. So we're going to see what we could do. But that's all, y'all. That's all I got. That's all I got. I hope y'all enjoyed this vlog. Please, if you enjoy my content or if you enjoy these type of vlogs, send me some loves. Drop some hearts in the comments. Make sure you comment. Let me know what books you liked, what books you didn't like. Give me your opinions on some of these things. What books actually interested you. If you have any ideas as far as more book content is concerned, drop that in the comment section too. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I love y'all so much, and I will catch y'all in the next vlog, okay? Bye.